Hello students, welcome to the channel. In today's Basics Explained video, we'll discuss box plots. Box plots questions have been seen on some recent SAT test administrations. So let's understand what a box plot is and the kind of question that you can see from this topic. So this is how a box plot looks, right? There is a box in the middle, and then there are these two kind of extensions coming out of the box. So it's a tool to represent data. For example, if this box plot tells us that the lowest shoe size in the sample is 1.5. So let's say that I have a data set of shoe sizes, right? And my data set starts from 1.5 to 3, 3.5, and goes up to 13. So I can see that my lowest value is 1.5, which is this first bar, right? You can see that this is 1.5. And the highest value is 13, which is this final bar on the right. And let's say that my median value is 8. So that is this bar inside the box, right? The left edge of the box is the lower quartile, Q1, and the right edge of the box is the upper quartile, Q3. What does that mean? That means that 25% of all values would be between 1.5 and 4. Another 25% would be between 4 and 8. Another 25% would be between 8 and 10. And another 25% would be between 10 and 30. It only tells me the distribution, remember. It doesn't tell me the total number of values. So for example, let's say that my box plot is, let's say my data set is given by 1.5, 4, 5, 8, rather let's say 7, okay, then 9, and let's say 10, and 12, and 13. So let's say these are my 8 values in the data set. So how would I draw a box plot for this? Out of these 8 values, 25% of the values, that is 2 values, are between 1.5 and 4. The next 25% of the values are between 4 and 8. The next 25% is between 8 and 10. And the final 25% is between 10 and 30. Now the question is, how do I determine the values of Q1, Q2, and Q3? Because the lowest value is pretty straightforward and the highest value is also pretty straightforward. So this part and this part of the box plot is the easiest to figure out. So what will be the median? The median, how many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When there are 8 values, which is an even number, the median is the average of the 4th and 5th values. So the 4th value is 7, and the 5th value is 9, and so the median is 8. So the median is 8 here because it had to be the average of the 4th and the 5th values. Now, what about Q1 and Q3? I'll explain Q1 and Q3 in the next slide. But my main point is that you needed to understand that this box plot does not tell me that the data set has 8 values. It only tells me the distribution of the data set. Okay, let's go to, so this is something that we have already discussed. In the above box plot, if the number of shoes in the sample is 20, we can say that the number of shoes less than or greater than size 8 is 10 each, right? So if we have 20 shoes in the sample size, then 10 shoes will be in this range and 10 shoes will be in this range till here. So that is what I meant when I said that whatever is the data size, it gets distributed in a certain manner as per the box plot. Now, we already know the lowest value, the largest value, and the median. That's pretty straightforward. So how do we calculate the first quartile, which indicates 25% of values from 0 to Q1, and the third quartile, which if you go from 0 to Q3 is 75% of the values, right? Because 0 to Q1, so remember 0 to Q1 is 25%, Q1 to Q2 is another 25%, Q2 to Q3 is another 25%, and Q3 to Q4, where Q4 is the largest value, is the final 25%. So if you go from 0 to Q3, you're covering 75% of the data set. Now, let's look at this question. It says, find the first and the third quartiles of this data set. 3, 5, 7, 8, 12, 13, so on. So we first find the median. The number of terms here is 9, right? So the median would be the fifth value, which is going to be 12. So 12 is the median. So if 12 is the median, then you divide the data set into two halves. There is the lower half, which is made up of 3, 5, 7, 8, and there is the upper half, which is made up of 13, 14, 18, and 21. So when you have the median, you take the left and the right part of it, because the median was within the data set, which happens when there is an odd number of values. And now the median of the lower half is the first quartile. So what will be the median of 3, 5, 7, 8? It will be the average of 5 and 7, which is 6. So Q1 for this data set is 6. And what is the median for the upper half? It's the average of 14 and 18, which is 16. So Q3 is 16. So that's what you do when you find the Q1 and Q3 of a data set with an odd number of values. Now I'm looking at another data set which has an even number of values. Now it's 10. So now the median will be the average of the fifth and the sixth values, which means it will be the average of 12 and 14, which is 13. Now 13 itself does not belong to the data set, right? And that is very often the case when you have an even number of values, because in the median in that case does not belong to the data set necessarily. The median is the average of the two middle values. So here the lower half will be all values less than 13, and the upper half will be all values greater than 13. So you remember here in the previous one, when we had the median as 12, which was part of the data set, we took all values less than 12 for the lower half and all values above 12 for the upper half. We did not include 12. Here, we are forced to include all values in the data set because the median is 13. So all values less than 13 and all values greater than 13 will include every single value of the data set. So my lower half will go from 3 to 12. And here, the Q1 will obviously be 7 because there are 5 values, so the third value. And the upper half will go from 14 to 21. And so the Q3 will be 15, right? This is how you can calculate Q1 and Q3. So let's look at this in terms of how you might see a question on the SAT. So let's say I have a data set here, right? I have a data set which starts from 18 and goes all the way to 51, right? And I have to construct a box plot. So I can already see that my lowest line will be at 18 and my highest line will be at 51. Those are the easiest things to draw. The first line and this last line. Okay, how will my box look? So the first thing I notice, how many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 28 values. If there are 28 values, then my median would be the average of the 14th and 15th values. So 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So what is the average of 44 and 46? That's 45. So this has to be 45. This is median of the box plot. So the line inside the box is the median. Now, what will be my Q1? My Q1 will be the median of this data set, all values less than 45. So that is how many values? That is 14 values. So my Q1 will be the average of 7th and 8th values. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 value. So the average of 33 and 36, which would be 34.5. So this value has to be 34.5, right? What about Q3? Q3 will be the median of these values, right? So if I start from here, these 14 values, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this and this happen to be the 7th and 8th values. So that's average is 48. And so Q3, this number would be 48. So minimum 18, Q1 34.5, median 45, Q3 48, and maximum is 51. So this is what a box plot tells you, right? And you can see, you can see the shape of the box plot tells you a lot because there is a greater spread between the lowest value in Q1. You're going from 18 all the way to 34.5, right? But if you look at the spread between Q3 and the largest value, it's very small because there are a lot of values bunched between 48 and 51 in the data set. Right? Okay, now we'll do an actual question which was tested on the SAT. This was asked, I think, in one of the March papers. So they gave us a histogram on the left. The histogram is shown, and on the right, we had to figure out the correct box plot for this data. So we noticed that, let's look at the total number of values, 10, 20, 31, 31, 41, 51, 58, 70, 80, 85. So there were 85 values in Amir's survey data, right? Going from 15 to 45. So my lowest is 15 and my highest is 45. Now, if you notice 15, 45, 15, 45, 15, 45, and 15 and 45. All the four have the same lowest and highest value. So that doesn't help me. Okay, what will be the median? The median will be, since it's 85, the median will be the 43rd value, right? 86 divided by 2. So what is the 43rd value? 10, 20, 31. Yeah, so the 43rd value happens to be 30. So this middle line should be at 30, which is also true for all four of them. So you see the easiest parts, which give us the lowest and the highest value, and the median don't help us. So we need to calculate Q1 and Q3. Okay. Now, how would I find Q1? We know that the 43rd value was 30. So we find the median of the first 42 values. The first 42 values, the median will be the average of 21st and 22nd value, right? So what will be the 21st value? 10, 20. So it will be 25 and 25. So my Q1 is 25. So it can't be this, it could be this, so I'll keep this. It can't be this, and it can't be this. So just from Q1, I've gotten my answer as 25, which is this line, right? Which is on 25. Okay, let's also find Q3. Q3 will be from 44th to 85th, the median of these, right? So this would again be how many values? 42 values, right? So yeah, so 42 values. So you'll have to find, let's see, how can we quickly find this? 21st and 22nd for this data set. So if I have 44th as my first value, one second, let me write it here. Okay, yeah, if I have, actually I'll clear this so that there's some space here. One second. Yeah, so I need to find if my 44th value is number 1, then what would be my 21st value? How would I find that? 44 is 1, so plus 20. So that is 64th value, right? And my 22nd value will be the 65th value. So let's find the 64th value. 10, 20, 31, 31 plus 27. 31 plus 27 is 58. 58 plus 12 is 70. So 35 is 64th and 65th. So 35 has to be Q3, which is also true here, right? So here I didn't have to find Q3 because Q1 alone gave me the answer. But in case Q1 doesn't, then you will have to find Q3 as well. Right, so this was box plots. Hope this exercise was useful. If it was, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comment section what other videos you'd like me to upload. We also have an advanced series of questions in math called Target 750 for those who are good at basics and want to get some high level practice. So check that series out. I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.